Benjo turned out to be the tallish, brown-haired guy who had so alarmed me. After a few minutes, during which the bell rang somewhere and additional aspiring actors arrived, including another Sacred Heart girl, this one quite young, he called for silence and addressed us. "Okay, let's get started. I'm Benjamin Seward, and I'll be directing Midwinter Insomnia, an original musical by Barry Davison, with music by Ned Downing and lyrics by Grandison Parr. That's Barry over there, and Ned's next to him, and Parr... Where's Parr? Oh, I guess he's still at fencing practice. Anyway, most of you know Mr. Barnaby, our faculty advisor, and Ms. Wilson, our musical advisor." He indicated a bald, bearded man with a barrel chest and prominent ears, and a slender, petite woman with straightened hair pulled back into a knot at her neck. Benjo continued. "When I call your name, please come up on stage and give your music to Tyler at the piano, all right? Alcott Fish." A small boy presented himself, cleared his throat, sang "You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown" in a pretty soprano, recited a speech from the same play, and sat down again. The four directors whispered together, then called the next boy. During the auditions that followed, I had time to imagine various dire scenarios in which I fell off the stage, forgot my lines, changed key halfway through my song, fainted, laughed hysterically, or compulsively shouted, "Fire!" At last, I decided to dull my thoughts by running through my speech over and over in my head. When Aaron's turn came, I stopped and paid close attention. By then, Shakespeare's words in my head were beginning to sound dangerously like nonsense. She sang "My Favorite Things" with all the corn syrup sweetness it deserves. Her speech from the Glass Menagerie was similarly well articulated, sincere, and oversweet. Next came a striking boy with a dark complexion and a beautiful baritone. Then, after a few so-so singers, and two pretty good younger boys, it was Yolanda's turn. Her rich alto, surprisingly sultry in someone so young, made a strong showing in "Too Darn Hot" from Kiss Me Kate, and her speech from Raisin in the Sun moved me almost to tears. Ashley, too, acquitted herself well, with a loud and tuneful rendition of "Take It Back," and a loud and passionate rendition of the Darcy proposal. Then it was my turn. I made it onto the stage without falling over and handed my music to the boy at the piano. Things started out well enough, but I began to have second thoughts as I sang "It's All Right With Me." "It's the wrong time and the wrong place," the song begins. How true, how painfully true, I thought. But when I reached the part about trying to get over someone by throwing myself into someone else's arms, I felt Chris Stevens watching me slyly. By that time, I wished I had chosen something else, anything else. Still, despite my embarrassment, I managed to pronounce the words clearly and stay in tune. Relieved, I started in on my Queen Mab speech, but that, too, felt far more problematic on stage than it had in the safety of my attic bedroom. "She is the fairy's midwife, and she comes," said my mouth, while my mind, racing, chided me. "What made you think it was a good idea to give a speech about fairies at a boys' school? How's that going to go over?" I glanced cautiously around the audience. Another bad idea. There was Ashley grinning at me, which had the perverse effect of making me more self-conscious. There was Chris Stevens, winking with his long cat's eyes. There was a little boy chewing the end of his pen, and another sprawled out over 2 seats with his eyes closed, both radiating boredom. And there, in the back, oh, horror! Had he been there the whole time? Stood Grandison Parr, tall and golden, looking right at me. I panicked. My voice dropped to nothing. I rushed and mumbled my way to the end. stopping abruptly and cutting off the last 3 lines, which are kind of obscene anyhow. I dragged myself off the stage and sank into the dusty velvet seat beside Ashley's, where I wished I were dead. The rest went by in an excruciating, slow-motion blur. Parr took the stage, and I sat, drinking in his pleasant, confident voice, with frozen limbs and cheeks that burned on and on through 1,000 other speeches and meaningless songs. When the auditions were over, he came to find us. Ashley greeted him warmly, but I could hardly hear what she said over the pounding in my ears, nor could I choke out more than a monosyllable. All through the ride home, while Ashley and Yolanda eagerly reviewed the afternoon's events, I sat with my cheek pressed against the cool glass of the window, hardly blinking, hardly breathing. And the torture repeated itself all night long, first in my memory and then in my dreams, until I half hoped my blushes would set my sheets on fire, ending my misery in one magnificent blaze. Chapter 11. Parts. Scripts. Rhymes. Songs. An igsome moth. An artistic rivalry. A direly misleading scene involving a sofa. After the previous day's disaster, I walked the long way around to my first period social studies class to avoid the bulletin board. I had no wish to see the cast list posted without my name. True, I had half hoped to tank at the audition, but half hoping to tank is one thing, actually tanking quite another. In the end, my careful detour came to nothing. Ashley and Yolanda appeared at my lunch table, waving a piece of paper. "Good afternoon, Headmistress Little," cried the enthusiast. I frowned impatiently. I was in no mood for Ashley's play acting. "What are you talking about?" I said. "Look!" said Yolanda. She put the page down in front of me, just missing a pool of spilled mustard. "It's your part! You got a little part! Headmistress Little, see? And there's me, I'm Tanya, president of the student body. I hope I get lots of lines. And Ashley's Hermia, that's it, from Biz High. We figured it was okay to take the poster down since nobody else from here tried out. But Erin got a part too. She's Helen. And Emma Caballero, that freshman from Sacred Heart, she's Chloe." "Is this not good news?" said Ashley. "Grandison Parr plays Owen, captain of the debate team, and your beloved Ned is the musical director, so you will have frequent opportunities to converse with him during rehearsals." "Oh, are you going out with that guy Ned?" said Yolanda. "Crisp, you never told me that. He seems like a really nice guy. I kind of liked that tall guy with the nice voice. He was cute. I wonder if he got a part. He had to. He had the best voice there. Which one do you think he is? Kevin Rodriguez? Ravi Rajan? Ask your boyfriend, okay? Oh, but don't tell Adam." Adam White, a junior, was sometimes the man in Yolanda's life. "Ned's not my boyfriend," I protested. "I only met him twice." "Yes, but you called him a Darcy, remember? Pay her no mind, Yolanda. She is too modest to admit her true feelings," said Ashley. "Whatever," I said testily. The alternating waves of anticipation and terror, disappointment and relief, which had been sweeping over me for the past few weeks, had taken their toll on my usually even temper. But how had I gotten a part after such a spectacularly bad performance at the audition? Ash and Yolanda insisted that I had sung sweetly and spoken well, though softly at the end. But I knew they were just trying to make me feel better. No, the only possible explanation was lucky or unlucky chance. 5 girls had auditioned. 5 had been cast. If a 6th had shown up at the tryouts, she would surely have won the part of Headmistress Little.